Good morning, everybody, and welcome to an insurance chat with Debbie Scarborough. I am Debbie Scarborough. I live in Tifton, Georgia, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. Um, it's Cancer Awareness Month for October. If you're watching us live, it's the last um, of the month for cancer awareness, breast cancer. If you're watching this later, cancer it's awareness is every day, something we should think about, talk about every day. So it's nice when we take a whole month to talk about cancer and awareness and what we need to do. So I'm so glad you joined us today. I'd like to talk about some of the options we have with cancer, but I also have a special guest with me today. Sonya Bennett is joining us. Um,
Hi,
Hi,
hi, Debbie. It's
nice
so
to
great to be
see you.
here.
Yes,
Nice to talk to you. Good morning.
yes, and good morning. I know you have been doing some exciting things. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, um, about Confinement Chronicles and everything else you've been up to.
Well, my name is Sonya Bennett, and I am a resident of Oak Park, Michigan. I am one of the contributors to the Confinement Chronicles, and in this month of breast cancer awareness, I am very personally connected to cancer. It's touched my life in many ways, and so it's wonderful to be able to come on here and talk to you a little bit about it, and to learn how insurance can help those who are afflicted with cancer.
Good, awesome, awesome to meet you. And I know with cancer awareness, we all know someone, whether it's family, church family, friends, you know, we all have someone in our lives that have been affected by cancer, and we have some cancer survivors, and then we have some who aren't. And insurance can help along those lines and make things more comfortable. I like to tell people statistically, um, after age 60, our rate of getting cancer increases. And insurance doesn't always cover everything. 60% of the cost associated with a cancer diagnosis are not always insurance related. For people that are single, and even with family support, we need help getting to the doctors. We need help at home because we can't necessarily cook for ourselves, or we don't feel like cooking for ourselves. So there's lots of things that a supplemental insurance policy can do that our medical insurance doesn't do, um, that helps out. So that's kind of what I do. I am licensed in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee, but I can sell in any state. It's a matter of a phone call, and a license thing takes about 3 to 5 days to be licensed in any other state. But we don't get licensed in that other state until we come across somebody. So anyone listening in any state can still contact me, um, and talk about some of these products. But Sonya, I know you have someone close that went through cancer.
Yes, definitely. In terms of my family, I was 19 years old when my paternal grandfather told us one day that his back hurt, and we finally convinced him to go to the doctor, and he was already in stage 4 lung cancer. So just going back that far, and also his wife, my maternal grandmother, and her mother, my maternal great grandmother, each lost a breast to cancer.
Mm.
And though they are no longer with me, they were survivors. And more recently, I had a very dear friend, a reverend in our church, who was only a year younger than me, and she had just celebrated her 50th birthday. and she died from breast cancer. She had been in remission, but there were so many challenges, and then there were some things that they were trying to expose her to that they thought would be a little less invasive than radiation and chemotherapy, and a little less expensive. And unfortunately, they just didn't work. I learned from her that there are some insurance plans that will cover wigs now for chemo patients, and that was something that I know has been a struggle even for people with alopecia. So it is good to know that there are some riders and some insurance plans that will assist, because not only is it mentally debilitating for family members, and the patient is physically debilitating, and to have to put a financial debilitation on top of that is even more frustrating and stressful.
It is. And, I have talked to people that have breast cancer survivors 15, 20 years, 30 years, and they talk about what their insurance paid, and it was wonderful. We had low deductibles, we had low copays, and we didn't have all those tiers with prescriptions. And so what we're finding today is our deductibles are increased, our copays have increased, and now all there's tiers. Used to, with cancer, people got a cancer plan because your insurance doesn't pay for experimental treatment. So that's why I've got a cancer plan, because it will extend for experimental treatment. But now we're finding just simple little things, that burden of tier drugs, out-of-pocket expense for that has increased. So most of us are familiar with a treatment policy, and we may not know that that's what it's called, a treatment plan, but that is what it does. It pays based on what treatment you've had. So what does that mean for you? That means you're getting money after the fact. And they are great plans. They'll even pay up to $100 a night for a hotel. They'll pay mileage, because sometimes we have to travel far for a particular hospital or doctor. They'll pay per doctor visit. They'll pay extra for second opinions, because so many times a second opinion isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's that reassurance. So this supplemental policies will pay, but it does pay all at the end. But now we have these new things called first diagnosis plans. And I just helped a 83-year-old file on her cancer plan, $10,000. She's got the pathology report. She went for her yearly mammogram, had to go back for a biopsy, and it's cancer. So now she's just getting referred to a doctor for what to do with it. Well, all we need for Cigna or Mutual of Omaha for these first diagnosis plans is that report. Does it pay per treatment? It pays $5,000, $10,000, $30,000, and in some states up to $75,000.
Wow.
In Georgia, the most you could get is $30,000. But she bought a $10,000 first diagnosis plan, so she's going to get $10,000. That check is going to come payable to her for her to use for whatever she needs.
Wow, that is great. That we've come a long way with insurance, definitely.
Yes. Yeah. And, when you ask somebody, what would you do with $10,000, $20,000? And it just sort of opens the door to, $10,000 can significantly change your treatment, can significantly change your peace of mind of knowing where that money is. So, Sonya, what's the name of your church in Michigan?
I attend Beth Eden Missionary Baptist Church, and our pastor is Pastor Isaiah Petway. We are a very loving congregation, and we have many families within our church family, and it was truly a devastating loss to lose our Reverend Deborah Yates. She was a strong pillar in our church, and I've known her since I was a child. It was very devastating. One thing that was hard was when she was first diagnosed, she didn't tell anyone. She didn't even tell her mother and her daughter, and they all lived together. She just went through treatment together, well, by herself. And, we asked her things like, why are you wearing wigs all of a sudden? It just never occurred to us. And then when she was a year in remission, then she told us how long ago it was that she was first diagnosed. And one thing she always drilled in was self-checks, monthly self-breast checks, and yearly mammograms. And I have mine scheduled already for November. It's a standing schedule, and the members of our church really suffered a loss with losing her.
I think the one thing, why do you think women in particular don't share that, especially hearing that she didn't even share it with her close family? Sometimes we see someone at church, but, why do you think people or we don't want to share that with other people?
I honestly wish I knew the answer to that. For Deborah, I know that she didn't want people to worry about her, but I have two other friends actually who went through double mastectomies, and they went through chemo and radiation twice, and they didn't tell us. They're close friends. One said that it was because she didn't want to be pitied. She didn't want anyone checking on her every day and, oh, how you doing? Yeah, how's it going? And I understand that. However, there are some friends who want to uplift you, who want to check on you and truly bring you the things you need, whether it's a protein drink or just a hug or just words of encouragement. It's not always how are you suffering through it? Sometimes it truly I've never been through a hard medical issue where people would feel the need to feel sorry for me or be scared that I might not make it. However, I definitely have had some anger and resentment towards some friends who are no longer with me, or one who is in remission at this point, because they didn't share with me. And I know that as nurturers for women, our goal is to always ensure that the people around us are taken care of, but it can feel a little self-serving when you are in the aftermath and the what ifs, or how come they didn't tell us? And it's rough because you don't want to be mad at your friend, but
it's hard not to, because you want to share that. But as women too, we take care of ourselves.
Right. Yes.
Yes. It's like we want to take care of ourselves. We don't need help from other people. But
right.
Yeah. So
definitely.
So it's a hard topic, definitely, to talk to, and I think it's important as women that we keep in contact with each other and remind each other. I got my second notice. This is probably the first time that I didn't schedule my mammogram with the first reminder.
Yeah.
I had to reschedule a doctor's visit, so it put it out. So usually the doctor reminds me and gets it done. So, but I think as women, sometimes we got to check in when we notice something is a little different or a little off, or a person isn't doing the same thing. It's, send an encouraging card or a text.
Yes.
Say, I think something's going on. When you're ready to talk, let's talk.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I believe insurance is definitely a difficult conversation. I know for me, when my grandmother, who passed away in 2017, as she was beginning to deteriorate, I would ask her questions about just the simplest things that we needed to know, and it's
Yeah.
things that that we needed to know. Where's your insurance policy?
Yes.
Where is the
Yeah.
burial information? She had a plot with my grandfather. Where is that information? Things of that nature. And it can be seen as ghoulish to talk about things that are inevitable.
Yes.
And I understand that. And even as a Christian, it can be seen as a lack of faith to
Yep.
talk about the coming inevitable coming death. No matter what, we're all gonna die. We've all been born, and we're all gonna die. It's gonna happen. And I just remember having a very hard conversation with my grandmother, saying, I really need to know where your policies are. Well, why are you looking for money? Or I'm not gone yet. The others know. The others who?
Yes.
No one else knows. So
I have
insurance can be a hard conversation. I
It is.
definitely.
And
I
have
have a young daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and
yes.
the last time I worked full time, I had a life insurance policy, but I honestly don't have one now. And I think about it often because I'm 52, she's 10, and it definitely is a conversation that I have to think about because you just never know.
Well, and family is going to take care of family, especially
Right.
in your family.
That's
But
right.
there are some things that would be easier to make sure she has money for college, make sure she has money for some of those things. And that's what an insurance policy does, whether it's life insurance or a cancer plan or all these things you put into place. They're hard conversations to have with family, and sometimes it's hard to find somebody to talk about it with, because sometimes you want someone outside the family. But life insurance is something we need to put in place, and then we need to have that conversation with the people that we make as beneficiary. They need to know where it is. I have a great little cheat sheet that I give my customers that we write down all their insurance. It's a little square, tells you who it is, the policy number, the phone number, and how much the premium is. Because even if it's not a policy that's going to pay out, meaning upon your death, a dental plan is obviously not going to pay out. But that company could be taking that dental insurance out of the checking account for 3 months, 6 months. Now, most will refund that money, but you don't want to deplete money when you have all that right there together. So I encourage everyone, whether you're 32, 42, 52, or 72, is take the time to just make a sheet of all your policies and where you can get them. So I think it's time for a little commercial break.
All right. So okay, that sounds good.
For just a few minutes, and we'll be right back with an insurance chat with Debbie and my special guest, Sonya Bennett. Thank you.
When it seemed like the world had stopped, as if our normal would never be again. Confinement Chronicles.
Still, there were those who held fast to hope. These are their stories. From teachers to dads to nurses on the front line, they have chronicled their messages of hope Confinement Chronicles, now available. Order today on Amazon, also available in audiobook or at laderopress.com.
Confinement Chronicles.
Books and Besties, bringing authors, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, and community advocates. You are invited to attend a virtual book fair event. The book tour is coming to Southfield, Michigan, Saturday, December 3rd, 2022. Join us for networking. Meet the authors, including Sonya Bennett. Free gift for all attendees. There are just a couple of vendor spaces available. So, to reserve your space, call 248-702-5559. That's 248-702-5559. Save the date, bring your family, and come shop for the holidays. We'll be right back with more of our show in just a minute. Be sure you text your questions to 407-914-6519. And if you're watching the replay, be sure to call 229-392-6983. That's 229-392-6983. Promotional consideration for this episode is brought to you by Lolo's Social Media Promotions, blowing up your book, ministry, event, or business with content and comments. Send an email to our social butterfly, Laretha Simon, at larethapromotes@gmail.com. Affordable rates, payment plans available, and satisfied clients. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and now we're going to come right back with our host, Debbie Scarborough.
Hello, I'm back. I'm so glad you're back with me. This is an insurance chat with Debbie Scarborough. And I'm so glad you decided to join us. Text any questions, comments. Cancer Awareness Month needs to go on all year long, but it's great to take this month to talk about it, bring awareness to it. And it's probably that time to seek out supplemental policies for yourself, because a supplemental policy could take away a lot of that stress associated with the cancer diagnosis, because you want to concentrate on getting better, doing what the doctor says, and getting your treatment, and not worrying about payment. Sometimes I hear a lot of people have a cancer plan, but they're not sure what it pays. So part of what I like to do is go over that with you. I'm not here to say, hey, cancel that plan and get mine, because when you put those plans in place, you bought them at the rate of your birthdays. So keep that, add to it. The first diagnosis cancer plans are the easiest to put in place. And they pay out $5,000, $10,000, $30,000 directly to you at the first diagnosis. And we're going to bring back Sonya now. There she is. Good. And I know you said you had a 10-year-old daughter, and I know a good question most people ask is, we don't think about covering our children under a cancer plan, but a cancer plan can include the whole family. So that includes children as well. Children cancers are unfortunately a reality, but a lot of your treatment plans and the first diagnosis plan can include the children too. And a good question came in, can I put a cancer policy on my wife? Absolutely. A cancer policy kind of works one or two ways. Depending on your age, it may make sense to get two separate policies. But a cancer plan can include you, a spouse, and family. Because our cancer plans with Cigna and Mutual of Omaha are based on age, sometimes it makes sense when there's a real age difference maybe to have separate ones. But most people get a cancer plan. Mr. Jones gets a cancer plan, adds his wife and any children. So it's a great thing to put in place occasionally. I put a cancer plan in place for my husband because I wasn't eligible for a cancer plan because I had cancer at 42. Of course, I always tell people it was the good kind. And all I had to do was have surgery, and that was it. I've been cancer-free for 12 years now. So to put in a cancer plan, some plans have to be cancer-free for 10 years. Our plan with Cigna is 5 years. So once you're cancer-free for 5 years, I would encourage you to get a cancer plan, because unfortunately with cancer, we do have reoccurrence. So even if it's a different type of cancer, someone with breast cancer, another type of cancer may come in. So it's very important to do those, but don't forget you can cover the whole family, including children.
That is very good to know. There have been times in my life where I've been a supporter of St. Jude, which is for children and cancer research. And I think also sometimes people have the stigma of, if you put a cancer rider or some type of plan in place, then you're kind of predicting that you're going to have this come on, and that's not always the case. Since I have cancer in my family on the maternal side, it definitely is something to think about.
It is. And my mother had cervical cancer. Her mother had ovarian cancer. So I was very aware of what I was experiencing, and what, even at a young age, because at 19, almost 20, newly married, I had what we now call HPV. So mine did not go away. So I had to have some surgery at 20 years old. Outpatient, not a big deal, but kind of scary at 20. And knowing that my grandmother had ovarian cancer, I was very diligent about getting my annual exams every year. So, and then I think we were married about 5 or 6 years when my mom got cervical cancer. We're very fortunate. It was caught early. She had a hysterectomy and didn't have to do chemo or radiation. So at 42, when I was having problems and went to the doctor, and they advised me to have an ablation procedure, and then that's when they found my endometrial cancer. So it's so important to keep up with those yearly exams. We get caught up in life, but I was very diligent about those because I knew that family history. I had no idea that I would just follow so closely with that, but I just knew I wanted to be on top of it. So having done that, I caught mine early. But my mom was 68 when she was diagnosed with colon cancer. So we found it early, stage 1, surgery, no chemo. So I knew as soon as I could get a cancer policy, that's exactly what I was going to do, because I knew I was following in my mother's footsteps. I'm going to do everything I can to avoid that, but I know if it comes up that I'm going to have some supplemental money coming. So it's knowing your family's history. Does that mean that we're all going to follow? No. Somebody with 0 cancer in their family can come up with cancer. So,
Definitely.
Yep. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you for joining us.
We are back with our special series about the cost of cancer, which touches just about everyone. Drug prices driving patients and their families into bankruptcy, including one woman you're about to meet, forced to move out of her home just to pay for the medicine she needs to keep her alive. NBC's Ann Thompson shares her story.
I win.
Lauren Bauman's laugh masks a growing anger about the price of her life.
Without this pill, we die. Our families are left because we couldn't afford a pill.
The pill Gleevec helps manage her chronic myeloid leukemia, a daily dose that keeps this single mom of 9-year-old Aubrey alive. Even after her insurance kicks in, Lauren's monthly copay can run as high as $2,200, twice the average mortgage payment. It's helped drive Lauren into bankruptcy, though she has a full-time job. Now she's packing up her condo and moving back in with her mom.
On days I feel like I can't go on anymore, all I have to do is look at her, and she's my reason.
Gleevec is a nearly $5 billion a year drug for Novartis, the price more than tripling since Gleevec's 2001 debut, from $2,600 a month to $9,200 today, even though the drug has not changed.
That's not inflation. Right? And that's happened as they've recouped their investment in the drug many, many times over.
Memorial Sloan Kettering's Dr. Peter Bach says the U.S. cancer drug market is completely broken.
What is it that drives the price of a cancer drug then?
Essentially, companies set the price as high as they think they can get away with. And they say it's the cost of research or something like that, but there's no evidence of that.
In the last 5 years, there have been at least 15 new cancer drugs that cost more than $10,000 a month. But unlike Gleevec, these drugs may only extend life by an average of months, not years. Bach says drug prices should be tied to performance.
The prices have nothing to do with value, so they're hard to explain. They're hard to justify.
How many programs have you been on?
Almost every month for 4 years, Lauren's begged her church, charities, even Novartis to help her pay for Gleevec.
I send a picture of her so they can see it's not just me, it's her.
Last month, Novartis agreed to help. Lauren will pay just $10 a month, but she will need to reapply every year for the rest of her life. In a statement, Novartis says profits pay for research, which has led to the approval of Gleevec for 5 more rare cancers. The majority of patients, it says, pay less than $100 out of pocket per month. And it offers an extensive assistance program for those who can't afford the medicines like Lauren.
To me, that's you playing God. You're getting to pick and choose who's living and who's dying, all because of a buck.
The high cost of life that for Lauren and so many others is priceless. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Louisville, Kentucky.
Hi everyone, Pam here from Management Consultative Favor. You know, Matt Favor, just reaching out to remind you of some of the awesome services that we do provide once more to community-based providers throughout the country. And so these are your licensed clinical social workers, your psychologists, your behavioral analysts, case management organizations, nonprofits, and so forth. We help them with creating community-based programs. And so these can be anything from helping them design and implement a program. It can be with helping them get credentialed on insurance panels. It can be with making certain that they're compliant with different regulatory statutes. This is what our project management firm does, and we do it gladly with a servant's heart. Why? Because we got the favor of the Lord on our side.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. This is Dr. April Johnston, and I invite you to come bring your flowers and spend a little time, a few minutes with Dr. AJ. And I'm Dr. AJ, Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looking forward to the financial empowerment, wealth, and wellness. What can we do together to bring a better community while we're prospering in the ways in the land? Come join with me. You're invited. I can't wait to see you. Please follow all the inscriptions at the bottom at drapriljohnstonoutlook.com. We look forward to spending a few minutes with me. I need you. You need me to prosper. Thank you.
Sonya, thank you for coming back. And
My pleasure.
I wanted to talk about some options. So, the biggest question is, oh, that sounds great, Deb, but, how much does a cancer plan cost? Or can I afford a cancer plan? So we have two types of policies with Cigna. We have a treatment plan, which most people like. It can really add up to a lot of money because it's going to pay $500 per doctor visit, $500, $200 per chemo treatment. So again, it can add up to a lot of money. And you know how I talked about how you could include your daughter in a cancer plan. So a treatment policy at your young age is only anywhere from $10 to $11 to $18 a month. There are different plan options. You can pick a $200 plan, a $400, all the way up to $1,100. And really all that means is the plan pays out more money the higher the plan goes up. What I kind of work with a lot of my customers is, especially if you really want to cover cancer, a treatment policy works great because it covers everything after. And then a first diagnosis plan, $10,000 plan is $25 a month. So that means $10,000 for you, $10,000 for your daughter if either one of you have a cancer diagnosis. The neat thing about these cancer plans, the first diagnosis, is they've added a couple riders on it. So I've added the benefit builder rider. The benefit builder rider means that every year it adds $500. So a simple $10,000 plan in a year will be $10,500, $11,000 at 2 years. So it increases. Plus it pays out a little bit of money if there's chemo or radiation going on once you have a diagnosis. So they can be nice, affordable plans to put in place to take that. A third of my customers get just that first diagnosis plan because that's appealing to know that I'm getting $5,000, $10,000, $30,000 at the first diagnosis. And then I don't have to file any more paperwork. So it's a great plan to have. Or about a third of my customers like that traditional treatment plan, which is going to pay based on whatever's going on. And then I have a third of the customers who can kind of see putting them together so that I get money on the front side and then I'm going to get money on the back side. And then some people ask, well, what kind of cancer does it cover? Because we all know there's skin cancer all the way. So the only thing your first diagnosis policy doesn't cover is the two types of skin cancer, which is squamous and basal. It will cover melanoma because melanoma is an internal cancer. So a treatment plan would pay $200 or $500 because normally when you have those, it's just a trip to the doctor and they scrape. Occasionally I had a customer who had something on their nose and they had to go back several times for a skin graft. So skin cancer is something that talking to a dermatologist once a year is very important. So I just wanted to let you know, as someone at the young age of 52 with a 10-year-old daughter, what a cancer plan, what you can look at. And the good news is you don't have to add it all at once. Pick something that's affordable, start it, and then add to it later. So I know some exciting things are happening in Detroit on December 3rd. So if you missed that announcement, what's happening on December 3rd?
Oh, so on December 3rd here in Detroit, the crew of Confinement Chronicles, some of the authors who are here from Michigan, like myself, also my daughter is one of the authors of the Confinement Chronicles, and we will all be getting together for a wonderful Saturday afternoon event that is sponsored by Honey Baked Ham. And we're going to talk about the book and some of the trials and tribulations we went through during the COVID experience and being quarantined here in Michigan. Our governor took it upon herself to make sure that we all stayed safe. And with this being an election year, we definitely want to try and get her back in office. But on Saturday, December 3rd, we will be at the Comfort Suites in Southfield, Michigan, right there on Northwestern Highway. We still have a couple of vendor spots available. Presently, we have a few vendors, one that's coming with some beautiful desserts, another one that is coming with some wreaths that you can hang on the door, and also some great decorative pillow covers. And then we have one more that is coming with some great candles that just smell wonderful and can really relax you. So it's going to be a great time. And I'm sure that if you have any material that you'd like to place on the table for any visitors, because insurance is always something that everyone needs. I know I have a Gerber life insurance policy for my daughter that I've had since I was pregnant for her.
Oh,
and
I'm so excited to hear that because so many people miss that opportunity to buy life insurance for their children.
Yeah.
And it is so important. It doesn't matter how much it is. And we're not putting it in place because we know something's going to happen to them.
Right.
No, we're putting it in place because they've locked in a great policy, inexpensive, and it will carry them. And I know Gerber is one of them, one that we have with Mutual of Omaha. It allows them, once they become an adult, an opportunity to increase their coverage with no underwriting. So I'm glad to hear we've got that in place. And now you need to take care of yourself.
Exactly. I do.
Good. And I will send some things up there for you to put on the table.
That would be great.
Good. And anything I can do to help you, let me know. And I'm so glad you joined us this morning.
Thank you so much, Miss Scarborough. I definitely have to go make breakfast for the little girl. She keeps coming in here asking me. So thank you for the information. This has been a great way to start my weekend, and I appreciate all the information that you gave me.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing about Confinement Chronicles. And we look forward to everybody seeing you on December 3rd.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks,
All
you
right.
too. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Saturday morning at 8 a.m., an insurance chat with Debbie. And we really wanted to concentrate on cancer awareness, breast cancer month of October. And we're so glad Sonya shared her personal information about cancer and her family and her. And take this opportunity the rest of the week to reach out to someone that you know may be struggling. Maybe search for that lady that maybe something has changed and maybe something's going on. So and if you have any questions, something that I can help you with, something that we talked about today, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My cell phone, email address, either way. And I think a good topic for next time is going to be long-term care. Long-term care is something that most people just don't pay attention close enough to that, or maybe it's because we don't understand it. At one time, it was readily available. That's all you heard about. And now it's getting harder to qualify for a long-term care policy. So when's a good time to get one? Who should get one? And that's what we're going to talk about on our next episode of an Insurance Chat with Debbie. Have a great day, and I'll see you next Saturday. Thank you.
Joy comes in the morning. A 90-day devotional. Presented by Dr. Vanessa Blackwell and 89 phenomenal co-authors. Tanisha Bankston is a single mother of 3 children. She is a survivor of rape, incest, childhood sexual abuse, trauma, and domestic violence. My purpose is to help other people, especially women and children. It's time to get unstuck and move forward. My website is mypainismypower.com. And my Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter is all Tanisha Bankston. TANISHA BANKSTON. From a caterpillar to a butterfly, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. My name is Tanisha Bankston.
Hello and welcome to So What's the Problem TV show. I'd like to share that for the month of October, I am going to be highlighting Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast Cancer Awareness Month starts October 1st through October 31st of this year. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's so important because breast cancer affects so many women. I personally know 3 women who are suffering right now from a breast cancer diagnosis. And it is such a serious offense. The National Breast Cancer Foundation is a national charity. And though my show is not a charitable show, I am willing to invite breast cancer survivors so that we can discuss what they went through and the difficulties of it and how you can certainly survive breast cancer. Angie B's husband, Barty, just recently lost a really good man to breast cancer. So please plan on joining me during the month of October as So What's the Problem TV show promotes and celebrates Breast Cancer Month. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you then. Thank you. Bye-bye.